But there are some factors that are potentially unfavorable for vegans and vegetarians. So we need to be aware of those. So what are they? Number one, elevated homocysteine. If you ignore vitamin B12, you are shooting yourself in the foot because your homocysteine shoots up. Your risk of heart disease, potential risk of Alzheimer's, birth defects, and so on will also shoot up. Okay, so it's really important to recognize that. Low omega-3 fatty acid status may also cause increased platelet aggregation or the stickiness of your blood cells. It can elevate triglyceride levels, and many vegetarians and vegans tend to have a lower omega-3 status. So we need to take care of that. It's not difficult to take care of it, but we need to take care of it. So plant sources of omega-3s or taking microalgae, which is the original source of DHA and EPA in the ocean, which you can buy in a supplement form. And, I won't go into that. High refined carbohydrate intakes are another problem, potentially, with vegetarian and vegan diets. Refined carbohydrate diets boost triglyceride levels, and they increase the bad, small, dense LDL levels. And this is the low-density lipoprotein, which elevates your risk of heart disease. So what we don't want to do is rely on refined carbohydrates as staples in our diet. We should be eating unrefined carbohydrates instead. Low carbohydrates are not the answer. And replacing saturated fat with refined carbohydrates does very little to alter our risk for cardiovascular disease. Replacing saturated fat, however, with unrefined carbohydrate is protective. The Nurses' Health Study in 2014 reported that long-term use of low-carb diets rich in animal protein, not in vegetable protein, increased cardiovascular disease risk by 51% and all-cause mortality by 33%. So the high-protein plant-based diets did not increase risk at all. So the question is often asked, how much red meat is safe? And this question was posed to Dr. Walter Willett from Harvard. If you're aware of Dr. Willett's work, he's one of the leading epidemiologists in the world and has been involved with the Nurses' Health Study and the Health Physician Study and so forth. And here's what he had to say. Like almost everything, it's frequency and amount that influence our risk. There's no sharp cutoff. It's like radiation. We can't say there's any safe amount. Harvard study found that red meat increased risk of cardiovascular disease by 18% for every serving of unprocessed red meat and 21% for every serving of processed red meat. Why? Saturated fat, heme iron, new 5-GC, carnitine, hormones and antibiotics, and so on and so on and so on. There have been 3 recent meta-analyses on red meat intake and cardiovascular disease, and they all showed for unprocessed red meat an increase of 10 to 15% in risk, and for processed red meat an intake of more like 20 to 40% increase in risk.